channel Simplifying Business Studies. Myself, Kashish Talwani, your business studies teacher. I'm here again with part 16 of this chapter, which is chapter 2 of class 11th Business Studies, Forms of Business Organization. In our previous lesson, we understood what is joint stock company and we also understood its basic features. So this session will help you understand the different merits and demerits of joint stock company. So let us start this session. So this is all about joint stock company. So just to recapitulate, let us understand what features we did in our previous session. We understood that joint stock company has separate legal existence. It is artificial person as per the law. Its registration is mandatory. It has perpetual succession. It bears a common seal which has to be there on every paper which is said to be signed by the company. Transferability of share is another feature of joint stock company, and there is limited liability. So these were the features of joint stock company. So let us now understand different merits of joint stock company. The first merit is limited liability. What does this mean? The liability of the members of the company is limited to the extent of amount they have contributed as their share capital in the company. For example, a person, Mr. Ram has bought 1000 shares of rupees 10 each in a company called XYZ Limited. So his liability will be limited up to rupees 10,000, which is the amount which this person has invested in this company. So this company, all the members, that means here the shareholders of the company have limited liability. That means if any loss occurs to this kind of business, creditors cannot claim over the personal property of its members. So this is limited liability. Second point is transfer of interest. Shares of a company can easily be bought and sold in an open market, in a share market. If the owner of the share is in need of cash, he can easily go ahead into a share market and he can sell his shares and he can get the cash. At any time, transferability can be possible. One person can sell and another can buy. So in this way, the transfer of interest is possible in this type of organization. So anytime a shareholder, if the one of the owner of this company is willing to have liquidity, if he is willing to have cash, so he can go ahead and sell his shares anytime in the market. Next is perpetual existence. The company form of business enjoys perpetual succession. That means it has a separate legal existence which is formed by law, and death, insanity or non-existence of any of the member doesn't affect the existence of this kind of business. It has perpetual existence. It has a go on kind of existence which is unaffected by the existence of its members. So this is perpetual existence. Growth and expansion. The company form of business, there is definitely more scope for growth, more scope for expansion. Why this is so? Because the financial resources so contributed is such a large amount, and because of the manufacturing, because of the good amount and good projects, profit rate is also very high. So this kind of organization can definitely go ahead and put themselves into huge ventures which has better growth prospects and better expansion rates also. So yes, growth and expansion are possible in this form of organization. Efficient management. So how this kind of organization will have efficient management? Because of huge funds, because of the availability of huge funds, it can easily afford to hire professional experts to perform different kind of managerial and other activities in the organization. So the experts and these experienced, these specialized people improve the efficiency of the organization and the working capacity of the organization. So yes, this organization can afford this kind of efficient management because of the availability of huge resources. Last advantage of this kind of organization is large amount of capital. This is something which we have already mentioned across all the features and all the merits so explained. So how large amount of capital? This is actually the biggest advantage of this form of business, that it can collect a large amount of capital by issuing shares to the general public. So these people having small savings also can afford to buy a small share in a company, which is generally of a very small amount. So definitely a person can invest in a company as per his own capacity, as per his own economic condition. So yes, a person with a very small saving also can become a part of become a owner of the company in form of becoming the shareholder. So apart from share capital, this kind of company can collect funds by raising loans from different financial institutions, and they can also issue debentures and other securities in the market. So amount of capital, amount of fund, they is never a problem for this kind of organization. Let us now understand the demerits. Merits are there, and definitely demerits are also there in any kind of organization. So what are the demerits of a joint stock company? The first one is complexity in formation. So definitely formation of company is a very lengthy, it's a very complicated procedure. It includes many legal formalities, preparation of many kind of documents is involved. Lot of permissions have to be obtained, and also we have to hire certain team of professional to get these things done. So yes, its registration is a complex process, and also it's an expensive process. Lack of secrecy. So as per the Companies Act 1956, company is always required to publish its information, its accounts, in different journals, in different papers, and also it has to provide lot of information to the office of registrar. So such information is generally available to the public also. So it is definitely difficult to maintain secrecy, which is a very important factor, which is a very important demerit which this kind of organization faces. Next point is impersonal work environment. So company is not managed by owners, but it is managed by professionals who are hired to take care of it. So definitely there is no personal touch. There is no, we can say this loyalty or this honesty can be missing, which is available in other forms of business where people are personally taking care of their businesses. So increase in the profits sometimes may not affect the salaries of the managers. So lack of motivation and lack of incentive can always be a problem. Numerous regulations. Definitely the company form of business has to comply with numerous legal formalities at different stages, and of course there are certain penalties also if company fails to meet any of these requirements or these formalities. So company has to file return, it has to publish its annual reports with the registrar. These legal interferences and in day-to-day operation really affects the company, and also maintaining its secrecy is very difficult. Delay in decisions. So here all the important decisions are taken in board meetings by consulting different experts, different directors. So if certain decisions are to be taken urgently, it cannot be possible, because all the lengthy things, all the lengthy procedures are to be taken care of. Everyone's consent is so important. So working and taking decision in a company takes a long time. So yes, delay in decision can sometimes affect the work and efficiency of the organization. Oligarchic management. So what is oligarchic management? Although we say that, all these things are set up as per the democracy, but this kind of democratic setup only exists on paper. In real practice, a company is always in fewer hands, I can say, and those are directors. So directors have complete control over the company. These are the people who actually take decisions, and they can take all these decisions taking care of their own bias also. So they may ignore interest of shareholders and company sometimes. So this is oligarchic management, where people take decision as per their own biased views, as per their own selfish motives. Conflicts in interest. So yes, in a company, various groups of people are involved, such as shareholders, debenture holders, employees, directors, managers. So each group has different interest. For example, debenture holders will want their rate of interest to increase, whereas shareholders will want to have more dividend. So there is definitely a possibility of conflicts between these various groups, and that can affect the efficiency and effectiveness of work in the organization. So these are the demerits, disadvantages, or limitations of joint stock company. I'm sure this lesson has been useful to all of you. If you have any questions related to this topic or any other topics we have previously covered in our sessions, you can always get in touch with me through this email, or you can always get in touch with me through the comment box below. Hope you had a wonderful session. Thank you very much.